Reely Reviews.
Nico, we have another guest. Matt is here.
Are we on camera 3?
Yeah, guys, I got him on mine now.
Glad to be here.
Matt is here.
So, Matt, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Matt Green, friends of these two guys, and big Star Wars fan, huge Star Wars fan.
You can see by the shirt. Show off the shirt a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
Boba Fett,
There you
Mandalorian, Season 2.
Yeah, so we got the Star Wars fan on for this one. If you're watching on YouTube and you're wondering, we have a YouTube channel, by the way. Check us out. And you're wondering, why do the guests keep appearing on my side only? It's because Nico doesn't wipe his ass.
That's not why.
That's why I'm over
That's
here.
not why.
That's why I'm
That's
over
not
Nico
why.
smells bad. I mean,
That's not why.
The fumes still make their way over here a little bit.
That's
but
not why.
It's okay.
That's not why. Which camera are we on?
We're on you now. You can explain yourself.
I promise this is not true. This is not true. This is just Nick's propaganda.
He warned me about this before.
No. That didn't happen. This is all just propaganda. He paid Matthew to say that.
Anyways, we watched Star Wars. The second one. The second movie. We reviewed the original movie. How
The
long
second
ago was
of
that?
the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Okay, the first one was 5/1/2022. Is that May?
Yeah.
You guys did that
5
for
is
your,
May.
May the 4th be with you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. That was
I
May
know
4th.
that, yeah.
I'm so stupid.
How could we forget the holiday that we declared more important than July 4th? But
Yes.
yeah. So we reviewed the original A New Hope episode 4.
That's sorry. The date I read off is when we reviewed it. We didn't upload it until the 4th.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, to clear up the confusion.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Anyways, this is the sequel to that. What year did it release in?
1980.
1980.
Yeah.
I'd see. This is
Yeah.
he's already a better super fan than Ethan.
Come on, Ethan. Get your shit together, buddy. If you're watching this, Ethan.
He's going to be.
If you're watching this, Ethan, we're gonna quiz you like every single time you come on.
We
And
should
if
do a
you-
Marvel quiz for him. I'm a survey guy now. I'll stump him. I'll find a way.
How many total shots were filmed with a green screen, Ethan?
383.
Yeah, if he's a true fan, he should know that kind of
You
thing.
should know that.
All right.
Okay. Anyways, yes. Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back.
Do you want to do plot? Should we let Matt do the plot?
Yeah, Matt, you
I
got
think
the
we should let
plot.
Matt do the plot.
You can keep it as simple as you want. I assume people have seen it, or if they haven't, they're familiar enough.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
It's
This is
been
out
out
for
for
40 years.
42 years.
Sure, but just keep it brief. I think most people probably even have seen the movie or know what it's about.
It's just a continuation, really. It's like the Empire's chasing after Luke, Han, Leia, Chewie. It's the battle against good and evil, and Luke's kind of learning to become the Jedi that like he wants to be, and that like Ben told him he could be. And after the big battle of Hoth, to like start off the movie, which is awesome.
They're immediately on the defensive at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
The rebels are.
And then they're on the run, and Luke goes to Dagobah to go see Yoda, kind of like kick off his training, and Yoda kind of sees him as like a boy with like anger issues.
Which he kind of is. He kind of is. He's just screaming the whole time, like, "Why are we eating food?"
And
What does that sound like?
Yoda's talking in third person the whole time. It just doesn't really make sense. But yeah, he's training Han, Leia, Chewie, C3PO, who's talking the entire movie.
Oh yeah.
I just realized that after this watch.
CPPO.
Yes, CPO. They're running from the Empire because Han didn't fix the hyperdrive on Hoth.
Yeah,
It's
a lot
bad.
of fun chase sequences with the Falcon.
Was the hyperdrive thing? Was that a running joke starting with this movie, or was that in the last movie?
I don't know.
I don't remember it being in the last movie.
It was this movie.
It was in this movie?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I just remember, like, the sequels after this,
Talked about the
they just are
hyperdrive.
always like, damn, the hyperdrive is broken again.
Yeah.
You think they'd fix it after all that?
Yeah.
Why are you using the same plot device over and over again? You know?
Oh, no.
What's up with that?
But after the chase, really, they hide in the cave, which is not really a cave. They hide in a creature.
In the penis monster.
Yeah, which is really a hand puppet. It's someone with a hand puppet.
That's amazing.
And after that, they go to Bespin, Cloud City, and they run into Lando Calrissian, one of
I think he's a
I'm
fan.
sure.
He's a fan favorite character, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's definitely like, as like you look at like a character type, he's like complex and he's like both like good and he also wants like to look out for himself. Which
Yeah.
is like the kind of calls back to his younger days in Solo. I don't know if you guys have watched that.
Well, yeah, well, the prequel movie
Yeah.
that released a few years back, right? I
Mhm.
don't know what year.
2017, 16,
something
16,
like that.
17, something like that.
But they go to Cloud City. Lando kind of betrays them a little bit, makes a deal with the Empire. Luke realizes that his friends are in danger, wants to go save them, which is really the dark side calling Luke to go.
Yeah, it's a trap set by Vader. Yeah.
And so he goes to Cloud City. Han is frozen in carbonite to go take the job of the Hutt because he didn't pay off his debt. So pay off your debt, kids.
Or not.
Or not.
Han's a pretty cool character. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to be like Han.
But
You're like Han, Nick.
yeah,
Thank you.
You
Thank you. I
You're,
appreciate it. I
you're
know.
my Han
I'm so
Solo.
sexy. Yeah.
He gets frozen in carbonite, gets taken away. Luke comes to Bespin. There's really no match for Vader. Vader just kind of toys with him.
And then the famous "I am your
legend
father."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Which
is one
everyone
of the-
misquotes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's everyone always says Luke, I am your father.
It's just,
which is
"I
just
am your
not-
father."
Yeah. And then they escape Bespin just by like their hair, and then hit the hyperdrive, and they're off to space
Yeah.
for the next adventure.
And one of the things I really like about that, I guess that was a really good plot summary.
Thank you.
I feel like that was really
tried.
good.
It's more
I was
in
on the
detail.
spot.
That's more in detail than any of the things we use.
Oh, well, 100%. I mean, most of the
Well-
time we're trying not to spoil, but like,
We try to just like undersell it by
Okay.
like a lot and just be like, yeah, they kind of just do some stuff and then they go and do some stuff and then it's like
that was really good.
that's it.
That was really good. And one of the things I like about, since we got to that end, like they were sort of like, the progress by the rebels that's made in this movie is kind of minimal. Like
Yeah,
they're kind of
it
just
was,
on their heels.
Yeah, it was basically the main characters making any type of kind of progress, which is really Luke progressing just to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's about it.
And then you just wait, Nick. They make 4 more movies and then something happens finally.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
only one of them really matters.
Yeah,
Only
Rise
the
of
next one
Skywalker.
really. Yep.
Oh yeah, don't get me started on that one.
Yeah. But we're here to talk about Empire Strikes Back, which you told me is your favorite
Yeah,
Star Wars movie. From what I remember, it's what I always tell people. Oh yeah, it's my favorite. I mean, I haven't seen them in a while, I guess, but I will say, from watching this again, I loved this movie again. Like, I think every time I've seen it, I've loved it. I don't know how did you feel, Nico?
Yeah, I don't know if it's my favorite still. I think I might have Rogue One placed higher than it or Return of the Jedi. I'm not sure which one of those two I place higher than this. Maybe both. But I remember after watching this today, it's reminded me of what Star Wars was supposed to be and kind of what it all is. Just in if you had to recommend one Star Wars film, I'd recommend this. Like that just kind of has everything into it, and it really shows the chaotic nature of the Star Wars universe, the
Yeah.
fun, lighthearted tones, and all that.
Yeah, it jumps right in. It jumps right in with the world that had been established in the previous movie, but it just jumps right in. It assumes you've seen that sort of, but you could probably see this without. It's like all of the characters and stuff are established. The world feels real, and like from the very beginning, it's like I know we were watching and we were like, there are a lot of slower moments in this movie, but like from the very beginning, you really are jumping in with a lot of action.
the Battle
Yeah.
of Hoth, especially.
Yeah, that's what Matt mentioned right when we finished. You guys were like, "Yeah, this is a fast-paced movie," and it is. It is. There's a part or two maybe where they kind of slow it down a little bit, but for the most
It's
part, the whole
definitely
thing.
The
Yeah.
love story between Han and Leia is where it gets like kind of slow.
Yeah, well,
But
and
that's like
no, just-
necessary for the plot.
Yeah, 100%, necessary for their characters. And then I also was gonna say some of the other slower moments are when Luke is on the Dagobah system planet or whatever. Like that's another moment where he's sort of going through his own character evolutions, and there are slower moments in there. But I think they're like much needed for it because the fast-paced moments in this movie are really fast-paced and they're good. But this movie does it really well of like breaking that up and letting you breathe a little bit and letting you learn about the characters as they're like learning about themselves. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best part of Luke in this film is that he's still a goober at heart. but he's not as much of a goober as he was in the first movie. Like the first movie, he's like, "Oh no, the sun is out," but like this one, he's got his shit together. Just
He's hitting puberty a little bit. I think.
Yeah, he's maturing.
He finally got off a tattoo and he was like, "Wow,
Yeah.
this is the universe."
Yeah. Yeah, but like those moments from the fast-paced stuff, getting into those characters, like I think that's what's the best thing about this movie for me. Like that's my like why I like this movie the most is because the characters are just struggling the whole movie, and they have those moments where they're growing, they're learning. Luke is learning about the Force. Han and Leia are learning about each other. Leia maybe learning about the Force a little bit too, and like I don't know, that stuff's really cool. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, any negatives that you have since it's not your favorite?
Luke kissed his sister.
That's a big thing. Yeah.
It is a big thing. I mean, so
I don't know why George Lucas wrote this in, and then was like, they're related.
Well, yeah, because they're related in this movie.
Yeah, but like when he first wrote A New Hope, I don't think they kissed, did they? Or it was like on the cheek.
Did they kiss? It was on the cheek.
It was on the cheek, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where he eventually was just like, they're going to kiss, and we know that they're related.
I think Han just pissed off Leia, so Leia's like, "I'm gonna get back at you and kiss my brother on the lips."
Would you guys ever get mad at somebody and then go and kiss your sibling on the lips?
Well, they didn't know they were siblings.
Did they not?
Not at that point. Not when the kiss happened.
Return of the Jedi.
Well, George Lucas knew, and he still made the decision.
Yeah, I mean, George Lucas has a little bit of maybe he has a thing for his sister. I don't know. Does he have a sister?
I don't know.
I'll crush you like a bug, Nico.
Oh no.
I'm quoting George Lucas.
I think he went a bit too far in some parts.
I don't know if he went a bit too far in this one. Well, this is a little weird.
It is a little weird,
but like,
it's okay.
It's kind of funny.
It was funny.
It's kind of if that was his intention, then give him props. That was a funny little bit there.
Whatever the case. Whatever the case. It's not that I don't like this movie. There's nothing I really dislike about this movie. Some of the effects don't hold up the greatest. That's the only really main issue I have with this film. It still looks really good. It's still a lot of fun. Still pretty charismatic as I remember it 10 years ago. I don't know. There's nothing I dislike about this movie. It's just I think there are other movies from the Star Wars universe that I liked a bit more.
Sure, that's fair. I will say, just in our more recent viewing patterns, the difference between A New Hope and this is noticeable.
It's like a light year.
Yeah.
Like an actual full light year ahead.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened between 3 years, 2 years. It's night and day. The difference in quality is night and day.
Well, the difference is Lucas wasn't in charge of directing or writing.
But I can't imagine that he was that much of a hindrance that
Well, he was so behind schedule on A New Hope that it was really bad. And ILM, which is the company he created, the special effects company, they didn't have any of the shots done come fall of 1976. So they had to go back in the winter in early 1977 and reshoot everything, the Death Star run and everything.
Good job, George.
He kind of figured the process out a little bit. I think, so.
But I don't know. The difference that I saw today versus that, just having one film under his belt, I still don't know what it was.
To me, I really noticed the writing difference because you and I were laughing endlessly. There are still a few moments in this movie where you pointed it out when Leia's just I have a bad feeling about this, but that line is said 4 times in A New Hope. I feel from what I remember, it was just stupid stuff like it.
Was it? Maybe.
I'm trying to think back to our review. I remember at least when we were on the couch just watching it, I was like, this is ridiculous. That's a terrible line.
Some of Luke's lines in that movie were just kind of...
Well, he was a goober.
Yeah, he was a goober. That was the only way I could explain it.
Yeah.
But, okay. So what I also did notice from A New Hope to this, they didn't have any, just randomly jarring shots. There were the Jawas mass burning, bodies.
Yeah.
And, things like that. And, the actual burning, flesh off a corpse from Uncle Owen and his aunt and Luke's aunt.
Yeah.
They didn't have any sort of, imagery like that in this movie. And I don't know if there was blowback or something from at that time that made them change it, but that was just a small thing I noticed.
I wouldn't say... I mean, if there was anything new about, I agree.
Right? Like,
there was more
nothing
cohesive.
random.
There was a lot of random stuff that was just like, and I will say, if we're getting into random stuff, the CGI additions or late edits for the versions that are out there now on Disney Plus have. You said there's edits to this and to A New Hope, obviously. We complained about the edits to A New Hope.
Yeah, I didn't notice
it. It's just very noticeable.
Yeah. You saw the New Hope one, right? With like the big Jabba the Hutt just like so out of place, and then there's just some random other big creatures walking around Mos Eisley.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Right. But this one, I didn't notice anything. Maybe like a couple of small things, but very minute details.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, you told us before we started watching. If you hadn't told us, I don't think that I would have noticed. I don't think I would have noticed any differences. Like, there was no jarring after edits or weird CGI stuff that was like very noticeable or would be noticeable to the average viewer. Mm-hmm. So that stuff was really good. And so more of a cohesive product, I guess, in terms of direction. And then in terms of writing, less of the goofy stuff that, like, I think bogged down the first movie for me. Like, it made it harder to take it seriously. I mean, this Star Wars, you don't have to take it seriously, but still. It's just bad writing.
But some like tension, some drama always goes a long way, I think, for films.
Which I think is nailed in this movie. I think they get that completely right in this movie.
Yeah. Matt, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, the tension and the drama, especially with Luke, like, kind of struggling with the Force and him, like, not really seeing the full picture and him kind of, like, quick to, like, jump in on stuff that, like, he needs to think about first, and, like, patience. That's a key word I take away from this film for Luke. And, like, it's kind of like the story in the cave, you know, that, like, really old, like, Greek story, I think it is.
Which one?
Like,
the like showing the light thing?
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
He
I don't remember what that's called. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good. He, like, goes into the cave, and he never sees the light. He only sees the dark side, because, I mean, it's a dark side cave.
Yeah, right.
And he goes in and, like, sees Vader, which is his biggest fear at the moment. Mm-hmm. And he, like, destroys him, like, out of anger and fear. And then all of a sudden that mask pops open, and you see him. That was kind of like...
Yeah, he sees himself. Luke sees himself.
Luke sees himself. And it's just like... That's like a wow moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, you didn't have that in The New Hope. So...
Yeah, a lot of just, like, that scene is one of them. A lot of impactful scenes like that. And that's sort of... the impact of having maybe a different director that knows how to pace things out well and, like, hit those moments when they really need to happen. There's some really good moments with Han. I think some really good moments at the end of the movie. Obviously, like the iconic scene, the I Am Your Father scene. Like, just stuff like that, I think, is really what makes this movie so much better than A New Hope. But any final thoughts? And do you have any negatives? I didn't ask you. Are there any negatives for you as a Star Wars fan who probably has watched a lot of the projects more recently than us?
I mean, not really. Most of the movie is just, like, fast-paced, and it's, like, filled with everything, and it's like a Star Wars movie for me. It, like, makes me feel, like, at home, like, the nostalgia of everything, and it just takes me back to being a 5-year-old kid again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, as much as, like, I'll like, the sequels, I'll critique those for days, but, like, this one, it's just, like, there's, like, flaws with the, not the CGI, but, like,
some of their visual elements maybe don't hold up as well, but they still look fine.
Sure.
Yeah, they still look fine.
I mean, it is the excuse with that always is it was
limited technology.
But then again, there are movies from this time or earlier that looked better, I think. Mm-hmm. So, and this is an ambitious movie, so you can give it that exception, I guess.
Yeah.
Still, like, it definitely could have been better.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I think it's perfect story in terms of, if you look at the rest of these movies, it's the best. It nails the story the best. It nails character the best.
Yeah.
And it sets up a third movie pretty well.
Oh yeah, it sets it up really well. And then I think, from my memory as well, the movie delivers. The Return of the Jedi, which we'll review at some point, I guess, as well.
Sure. Matt, if you ever are back in town or whatever, we can have you on for that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But, like, Matt mentioned this thing right before we started watching. There was that motif of Luke, like, hanging upside down, or some visual cues of him hanging upside down, getting stronger with the Force. And I didn't think about that until we actually were watching the movie, and I was like, oh my god, he's actually, like, having some growth here. He's actually learning something here. By the end of the film, spoiler alert, when he's hanging upside down in Bespin, he's, like, actually communicating with Leia through the Force, and I was like, wow, Matthew was so right. I didn't realize this was like actually happening in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's just little stuff like that. Like I wouldn't have picked up on that
Which
either.
they didn't have that in A New Hope. A New Hope, I don't think Luke really grew as a character. He didn't really mature either. He was just like, oh, I got a lightsaber now. That's cool. And then like he was just kind of messing around, goofing around the whole time, and that was it.
There was no real progression with Luke, like, because like there was Obi-Wan, who was his mentor, like old guy that was teaching him everything, and like when that Death Star run was happening, like he kind of like lost all hope with the target computer until Obi-Wan said use the Force. And then that's when like...
And then he turns off the autopilot or the auto aim thing, and he's like, I got this. Which, whatever, it is what it is. But yeah, you're right.
And any kind of stuff like that, like you said, pointing out, in A New Hope, it was just blatantly obvious, like, I'm just going to tell you this lesson. Whereas, like, yes, subtle stuff like this is in this script, and I think it's because George Lucas didn't write it. And I'm like, I sound like I'm just shitting on George Lucas.
Yeah,
George Lucas created this whole thing. He oversaw this whole thing as an executive producer.
He had the mind behind this whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, so George Lucas, like, you got to give him a lot of credit. I mean, for doing something this ambitious and succeeding with it.
Space wizards with
and
light
obviously,
swords.
yeah, and obviously when you can see when it gets into the wrong hands with Disney with the sequels.
Yeah. What do you mean? Rise of Skywalker was the best.
On the sequels or just
George Lucas?
Oh, well, he was a very ambitious like filmmaker coming from like USC, and he was like with Francis Coppola, right?
I don't know.
Francis
Ford Coppola is a famous director.
I think he was working with him for a little bit.
Yeah, I know he was Spielberg. Yeah. So you said he wanted Spielberg. Sorry, you said he wanted Spielberg to direct this movie, or did you say that?
I said that
at some point. Yeah, Matt said that, but I remember reading something about it, and Spielberg was like, "No, that sounds kind of weird," or something like odd like that.
I bet he's eating those words today.
Yeah. Looking back on it, damn, that's tough.
Mm-hmm. But from American like Graffiti, I don't know if you guys have seen that.
I haven't seen that, actually. I've been meaning to.
It's a really good movie. Harrison Ford's actually in it. And George Lucas went from that and then went to the Fox, like 20th Century Fox, and like pitched the idea of Star Wars. And they're like, this is never going to work.
Right. Everybody was telling him no. It sounds stupid.
And he almost had like a heart attack from like making A New Hope, just because of all the stress and everything and it being delayed. But he like got it done, and that kind of made everyone's like world like come together, and it made my childhood. It made so many other childhoods.
Well, ours as well. Me and Nico both grew up watching these movies, playing Lego Star Wars,
the Clone Wars, watching that show, some of the other shows as well. Yeah,
I mean that stuff. Like, he created an empire with this. He created a brand that Disney paid how many millions for, whatever.
I don't know.
But to your point with that, like 20th Century Fox turning him down, he went on to make this. Well, it was one of the one of top grossing movies ever at the box office, right?
At one point, yeah. But I mean, now it's one of like honestly, it might be the biggest like movie franchise. I don't know, maybe numbers wise, maybe not, but like I think like socially impactful, Star Wars is near the top, if not at the top.
I'm sure numbers-wise, it's still like the top 10, top 5 probably grossing.
Probably, but I think some of that might also because of the recent trilogy. Just like every movie nowadays is just blowing up, getting so much money all the time. If I had to guess, most of the Star Wars like income is from those final 3 movies. Maybe not most, sorry, but a large percentage, I would think. Even though it shouldn't be.
Sure, I mean,
I don't think either of those
but that shows you the value. That shows you the value of like Disney knew what they were getting into, even though they made shitty products. Sort of in comparison, they were able to milk money out of it, and like for a franchise that was created in the 70s to still be like relevant, extremely relevant, and like killing at the box office today, like that and Marvel.
Yeah.
Like, those are the ones that are just killing it at the box office today. So, do you want to get into scores? I think we should let Matt go first.
Matt, you give us your score.
Out of 10?
Yeah,
out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, all right.
Matt gives it a 10 out of 10. Okay.
It's a fair score. I mean, we knew who we were bringing on today.
Yeah.
So. It's one of those classics that I can just watch it over and over again and never get bored. So.
Yeah. Nico, you want to go?
No, you got it. You're on the same side as Matt.
I'm on the same side as Matt, but I'm still thinking. I'm processing a little bit. I got a few seconds.
You want to switch between the cameras every single time
until we.
So you make a decision.
Just start spamming the cameras until we just eventually somebody spits out a score.
Do you know what you want?
No.
You don't know what you're gonna do.
I don't.
So you're just waiting for me to do it then.
Kind of. Here, I'm gonna type something.
Ooh, I am. I was hoping Matt's score would set a bar, honestly, for me to. This is a hard movie for me to score. I love this movie so much, but I know it's not perfect. Like,
I know it's not either, but I have my score. I'm going to let it be influenced slightly by bias. It's not a 10 out of 10. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Matthew.
yeah, I know it's not.
I'm going to give it a 9, a flat 9.
Okay.
There are some small goofy bits that don't fit it perfectly. Maybe some of the technical aspects don't work flawlessly, but for everything else, it's a fantastic movie. It's so much fun.
Yeah. I'm going to go 9.2. I was between a 9.1 and a 9.2.
Okay.
I think when we
What's the difference
watching,
between those point ones?
I just think the stuff that I don't like is just the visual stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes the goofy lines. But, like, I love Star Wars.
Yeah.
And this is the peak of Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I was debating not even going into the 9s with it. But then I was like, you know what? I have to. Like, it's such a good story. It's so well written. It's well done.
Yeah.
It's the best of them, I think. Other people probably mostly agree or whatever. I mean, would you say what's the consensus among Star Wars fans? I don't really know.
It's really that and Revenge of the Sith is like both really like well received.
Revenge of the Sith was?
Well, like now it is, but like not
among Star Wars fans.
Yeah, not at, like the time of release, but like looking back, like compared to the sequels, it's just like. And plus Rogue One too. Rogue One, Revenge of the Sith, and Empire Strikes Back are like top 3.
Return of the Jedi.
And Return of the Jedi. But you watch a film like Solo, and it's like it's a prequel, but it's its own like standalone. It didn't do as well.
Yeah.
And critics didn't like it, but the audience loved it. Mm-hmm. So like it's kind of like 50-50.
Yeah.
Almost.
Well, this movie's great.
Yeah.
Go watch it.
If you haven't seen it.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, I mean...
It's worth a watch.
I think you could, like you said earlier, I think you could even skip A New Hope if you just want a Star Wars experience, just to be able to tell people you watched a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
No, go watch Rise of Skywalker.
No.
Okay, then go watch The Last Jedi.
That's even worse.
This is what Star Wars can be. I think this is its peak. And... this, or like you said, Revenge of the Sith, a lot of people love that. So, like, those movies are what it can be when it's on, like, it's doing things creatively different, and it's just really well done, and it creates characters that we care about and love, and doesn't just make them do stupid things for no reason, because they can, and they're powerful Jedis. That's what I'll say about that, and about the sequels.
Rey with the ship.
Yeah, I'm never gonna review.
Sounds like you just don't like a powerful feminist character.
We're getting into some territory here. I don't know if we should.
I'm just kidding. Rey sucked. She was absolute balls.
And no fault of Daisy Ridley.
No.
She was great.
She and John Boyega's character were totally fine with wielding a lightsaber. That's fine, but like. J.J. Abrams and what's his name, Rian Johnson, couldn't write a movie to save their life.
No.
Yeah, well, yeah. Kind of like George, but in a different way. I think they just lacked creativity.
They didn't even have George oversight. Any
Yeah.
of those 3 films.
It was Kathleen Kennedy that did the oversight. And
she sucked.
Yeah.
I hope she doesn't have any say in any more Star Wars films. I don't know.
She
if
does.
she does.
Yeah.
Oh no.
For the Taika or
She's got
Waititi.
the Taika film. No.
She's got like influence on that. Yeah.
Okay. I have enough faith in Taika though. After seeing Thor: Love and Thunder. Have you seen Thor: Love and Thunder?
I have not seen it yet.
We're not going to tell you too much. Marvel had some little meddling with it, but
yeah, I was gonna say
that's what I heard.
It's still a pretty decent-ish Taika film. You gave a score that says good to decent.
Yeah, but I don't want good to decent out of his Star Wars movie because I know he's so much better than that.
I think Kathleen Kennedy has heard enough backlash already from the last week films. She might just be like, okay, we trust you.
It'd be nice if she just takes a back seat. And
besides what everyone wants.
I don't know if you've read much about the Taika film. He says he wants to make it a Star Wars film that's not about the main like Skywalkers, the Palpatines, all of those main names that have been through all of the first through all of the first 9 films.
Something new.
All of the core 9 films. Yeah. Sorry. And I'm excited for that.
I'm excited too. I'm excited too. If there's anyone, I mean, well, not if there's anyone, but I think there are multiple people who could. But he's definitely one of the people that it would be in or will be in good hands with.
I think
for making its own original story, making characters we care about.
Yeah. He could do that. I think James Gunn could do that.
Yeah.
Did you see? He asked Natalie Portman if she's been in it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I think he forgot about that.
Well, that shows he's not a Star Wars fan, so maybe he won't be influenced by the past movies. Like the sequel movies, I think were so influenced by the original trilogy.
Yeah,
that
they just same movie plot.
Yeah, it just wasn't original at all. I mean, it was just a reskin, maybe better looking with some cooler choreographed lightsaber fights.
I think maybe technically, if you're technically speaking, the quality of Force Awakens surpasses A New Hope just slightly.
Yeah,
but the story is literally just replaced, like text replacement. They just changed Luke Skywalker with Rey, whatever her last name is at that moment. They changed Tatooine with fucking what's that? Jakku.
Jakku, yeah.
And then they just changed a couple other characters' names and places, and that's literally the same exact movie.
Yeah, that movie is a saltine compared to A New Hope.
And they blew up the Death Star as well, which was this time Star Killer Base. Like
exactly.
It is the same movie. Just there's not the heart and soul in it though. That's what it missed.
And it might be more polished around the edges, but just no spirit, no charm, none of the Star Wars stuff that the fans and I think the general audience loves about Star Wars.
Out of the 3, that was my favorite.
Yeah,
I agree. Actually,
I think that's their best film of the 3. What did we just drop?
We're all good.
We're fine. Good.
Okay,
we're all good. Anyways, that's our review. Any last thoughts?
I don't know. Matt, do you have
Nico?
any?
I'd just say, if you haven't watched Empire Strikes Back, just kind of go give it a watch.
Yeah.
See what you think, and hopefully it inspires you to watch all the Star Wars movies and kind of love them, and hopefully it leaves a lasting impact on you as it did me, and makes you a fan for life.
Mm-hmm. I was actually just going to ask one question. It's not even like technically Star Wars related. You go.
Nah, I didn't have anything else to add.
Oh, I was just going to ask, Matt, are you familiar with Mark Hamill's like other roles, like the Joker in the animated series and in the Arkham games and some of those other things? Do you think him being Luke Skywalker is like probably his best, I don't know what to call
live action
performance?
No, best performance of sorts of whatever, whether it's just voice acting, whether it's actually being on screen.
I like his Joker laugh. His Joker laugh is definitely pretty good, along with his voice. But I think it's his best, even though he was like 24 to like 27 years old during like the
Star
original
Wars,
trilogy.
Right.
He like grew up basically, and come the sequels, I think if he was written better, I mean, he still did an amazing job. He was
the best part of those movies.
Yeah, and he was pissed off with the way he was written.
Yeah.
But he's just he's a really good just actor, and kind of you can relate to him almost. You can see his struggle.
Yeah.
And it's just it makes it that much more
What do you think, Nico, is his best role?
I don't know. I was thinking about it when I was watching this. I was like, there's no way this guy and the guy from A New Hope was the Joker.
He's a great Joker.
I think he's one of the best Jokers.
I can agree with that. But I also think his best role for the regular show fans out there skips the gorilla.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
Yep, that's his best role. That's his best role hands down.
That's what you think?
Yep.
I think this role is suited for him. Or it has become suited for him since they obviously filmed 6 movies and he shows up in I think all 6, right? He shows up in the 3, 4, 5, and then I think he shows up in the last 3.
I think you're right. Yeah.
I don't know if he died in the 8th or 9th movie.
And then he came as a Force
Force
Ghost
Ghost.
in
Yeah.
9.
Like, this is kind of his shtick.
Yeah.
And I think if you mention Mark Hamill, everybody's like, oh, Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, it's his claim to fame for sure. And he does a great job in that. I mean, I think he does a great job showing the growth despite being fairly limited by a script here. But yeah.
That was all. That was all I
Yeah.
had.
Anyways, can't recommend this movie enough. If you listen this far, check us out. Spotify, Apple Podcasts if you listen there. YouTube, we're on there now. And then TikTok for some clips. So I think we're just really reviews everywhere, right? So
Twitter or reviews, really.
and no one's going to look at our Twitter. Our Twitter
If you guys want to look at our
died.
Twitter, no, we post softcore porn on our Twitter.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
go
kidding.
check it out.
I'm just kidding. We don't do that.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Thank
See
you for
guys.
having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Matt.
Yes. Thank you, Matthew.
May the 4th be with you.
There we go. All right. See, we ended both episodes with that now.